Hey Taurus, welcome back to Haunted Cerebral. This is going to be your September tarot reading for your Sun, Moon, Rising, or Venus sign. So you can just check one of those, and if you have any planet of those in Taurus, then this reading might be for you. So, like the last times, I'm just looking into what's going on with you consciously and subconsciously, kind of, and some of the trends in this month. As before, I've already meditated on your energy and pre-shuffled the cards. And yeah, just another disclaimer, what is said here, what you hear here. If it doesn't resonate with you, feel free to leave it here. As you can see, I'm in a different location than before. I'm traveling at the moment, and I'm using my Tarot de Marseille deck. So I'm just going to be quite straightforward with this reading, so it might be a bit different. So anyway, we'll just get right into it. Overall energy for this month is the Two of Swords. So there's going to be some choices to be made. You'll be in a position of choice, and you'll be in a kind of a place where you don't necessarily need to make a choice yet, but a choice needs to be made eventually. It's also suggesting that right now some things are not completely clear, and to give yourself a chance to let things unfold so that when you do make your choice, you're making it responsibly. It also suggests this is kind of like the birthplace of where new relationships to ideas are formed. As we make choices, our sense of identity evolves. So that's kind of your overall energy for this month. So we have here for you what you're kind of thinking about this month, Taurus, or maybe what you're thinking about right now at the end of the month is we have here the Eight of Cups, the Nine of Swords, and then the Eight of Swords. So already right off the bat, we have this kind of like 8 and 8. One side is the Eight of Swords, one side's the Eight of Cups. So between further thinking about things and feeling about them. Now, what's interesting about the Tarot de Marseille, I think, is that the two eights of the cups and sword suit, to me, say two different things, even though one is kind of like filling up the card and the other one is kind of emptying out the card. So in one, there's this kind of like Zen meditative null voidness to the thinking. So it's like maybe you have to get into a more meditative state, let yourself kind of detach from yourself in order to make the choices that are necessary. Or the other one, which is like kind of letting things out, voiding yourself of those feelings, and letting, surrendering what you have to another or to your higher power. Sometimes I think of it as like meditating and listening to God versus like praying and talking to God. Not that you have to be talking to God, but anyway. And then in the center of that, we have here the Nine of Swords. So Nine of Swords could suggest that you've attained some new information about an issue that you've been dealing with the sword kind of slashed down the middle. It also suggests that the thoughts themselves have been influenced by something external and have changed the way you think about them at all. And that it's like kind of, this is the weaving here that's in the same weaving here, and so the sword's kind of piercing through it. And yeah, with that cut in it, it's like, even though the thoughts you've had have been able to see through this kind of weaving of thought, at the same time with the crack in the sword, it suggests that maybe what you were thinking in the first place is different than what it really is. And that may be why you're like trying to struggle between like, do I just let it out? Do I just surrender the feelings that I'm having about this situation? Or do I continue to contemplate it, let things unfold for themselves a little bit more, and not exude so much control over my environment so much as like I have control over how I respond to the situation? So that's the choice you're kind of making, and maybe with the Nine of Swords there is some anxiety at the heart of that. You're not sure what to do a little bit, and this new information considers other people a little bit, or other things that are influencing the situation. So informing what's going on at the top of the reading here. I have here the Page of Cups, the Moon card, which is the first major arcana and is Pisces, and the Three of Pentacles. So right off the bat, I feel like the reason why you kind of maybe would consider meditating on this a bit more, thinking about your situation and letting things unfold for themselves, being a bit in your own headspace about it, is because maybe you're trying to do things a bit differently this time. Maybe you're feeling like you want to be more creative with what you're doing in this new direction. Maybe you're feeling like this is the new direction you want to take towards this project, towards the situation at large. And you feel like that the reason why you're considering it is because it feels like this might be a way for you to evolve as in yourself, in the way that you are personally feeling out about it with the Page of Cups. Maybe it's like this new direction you're taking has something very creative in it that is opening your mind, that you opening your heart up in a different way, and maybe you want to just try and see how things work differently. And just looking at where the Page of Cups is walking towards, I have here the Justice card. So it may be that you're like considering that maybe through taking more time to contemplate the situation and be with yourself about it, it's going to help you feel like things are the most fair, and you're participating in it in the most fair way. Now, contrast to that, again, we have here the with the Eight of Cups and the Three of Pentacles. Maybe the reason why you're like, okay, maybe I don't want to hold on to these feelings anymore. It's like it's time for me to let them out. Is that you're more thinking like, okay, maybe I can actually work with others to achieve these goals that I have in mind. Maybe by sharing with others what I have inside of me that maybe that I've been holding in and that I want to kind of let out, that together we could solve this situation better than alone. But it could be that the reason why you're torn between these two things is because I have a feeling that more often than not in the past, the way you've dealt with these kinds of situations has been more of this Nine of Cups thing, and like depending on others a bit more for their input on the situation than your own in order to make a clear decision. And the reason why you're kind of more thinking about why you would want to contemplate this a bit more on your own, maybe meditate on it a bit longer, is that this is making you feel like maybe this is more of an independent decision. It's more of a decision that seems contrary to what you're used to, and maybe it feels like it's the right thing to do, like it's like the right way to, like I said, evolve your independence. And then at the heart of that, again, I see with the Moon card and the Nine of Swords, is that this situation's kind of keeping you up a bit at night. There's a lot of unclarity regarding the situation. I think it also reinforces the Two of Swords here too, that you're not really seeing everything going on, and you don't really need to make a choice yet, but you feel like you do. And with the Moon card, it's like you're not really sure what is the truth, what is not. And the best thing to do is to just continue. I think just a bit of advice in this situation is to continue to let things reveal themselves, not to just jump the gun, so to speak, because at this time things are not completely clear. And it may be that you need to dive more deeply into what you're thinking subconsciously, which is why I would suggest meditating a bit more on it. Maybe paying attention to your dreams, again, reinforced by the Nine of Swords here. Perhaps the dreams that you're having related to the situation, if they're troublesome to you, are worth paying attention. Maybe it's time to start analyzing those a bit more. Also with the Moon card, always talks a little bit about cycles of the moon, the rhythms of the world. So it could be that you don't need to make a choice yet, because right now things are still evolving, things are still changing. In time, things may reveal themselves, but right now, try to just keep an open mind. Now, the bottom of your reading, Taurus, I have here the Five of Swords and the Seven of Pentacles and the Four of Cups. And this is really how I see it. If you take the one path, it will develop you in your individuality, your feelings about the situation, the way that you deal with the things that you're feeling in general in a new way. But that will bring change, and sometimes change is not necessarily good. Or change is just change. It's not good, it's not bad, it is what it is. And change is necessary for us to grow. So if you take this one path, things will change. It may be that you see, with the Five of Swords, I always see it as like you have learned to see things differently, and so through that you've kind of made a new direction in the way that you're thinking about things and the ideas that you're making and the way that you're communicating those things. And sometimes those things are contrary to what other people want or expect out of you, and so you may find yourself in a bit of conflict with those ideas. It may mean that you just have to communicate things differently. It may set you apart from others, but it may give you a new perspective on the whole thing in general. With the Seven of Pentacles, I think underneath this row here, I think again it's reinforcing that it's like now is that the time will come for you to do the work. You have to keep vigilant and watch over it a bit. It's like there is progress being made, and you will be developing forward the things that you're working on. But first you have to learn what is like keeping things stable and what things decisions needs to be made, and then through that how you can like kind of grow the new opportunities in those. And then once that's kind of made clear, which I think it will with the Seven of Pentacles, once that's like kind of all made clear and this moon illusions have kind of faded, and you've made the choices between what's going on the cup side or versus the sword side, is that you'll do the work, and whatever choice you make, you'll get involved in it, and it will kind of progress things forward in a physical way. But I feel like now getting to the other decision, that if you choose this to let things out, to depend on others to help you make these choices, to work together, you will find stability, like emotional stability. Things will feel like, okay, they're back to something I'm used to, but you'll really feel like nothing's changed. And things will kind of be stagnating back to where they were before. There won't be anything evolving. You'll just be kind of left where you were before this whole situation occurred, and it will mean that eventually you'll have to deal with it again in the future. So one of them, so basically how I see it is like one of them is like stalling, and the other one is like being the catalyst to change. So the choice is yours, Taurus. It's in your hands to decide how to deal with this or not. I think best course of action is to just see how things evolve, see how things are made clear towards you. You don't have to make any decisions right now, but when the time comes, I think you have a choice between, do you evolve or do you stay the same? So that's basically what I'm saying. Okay, Taurus, that's your reading for this month. I hope that it's helped you in some way. If you got something out of this reading, please drop a like. Hit the subscribe button. Please leave us a comment. Feel free to follow us on Instagram as well, where the other half of Haunted Cerebral is often doing astrological transits into what's going on in the stars. And this may give you a bigger picture about what you're seeing here in the reading and help you maybe with that choice you need to make. If you feel like donating, please, there's links down below. Any little bit goes a very long way. If you'd like to book a reading with me, the email's down there too, or you can do it through our website, or just DM us on Instagram or here. Either's fine. Cool, Taurus, thanks again for tuning in. I wish you guys all the best. Keep coming back, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.